Hey guys, it's Ivy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing fall recommendations. I have 10 books here to talk to you guys about, and these books are in like no particular order of which ones I think are the best. These are just books that I think are very atmospheric and really good to read in the fall. First one I'm going to talk to you guys about is The Coldest Girl in Coldtown, and this book is by Holly Black. And if you don't know, Holly Black is one of my favorite authors. She writes really creepy stories and makes them super amazing, so I highly recommend like all of her works, but the one I'm going to talk to you guys about today is this one. And this book is about Tana, and Tana lives in this world where people become vampires, and vampires live in these like secluded like cities. You can go there and live there, but you can never leave. And you can go there to like try to become a vampire. You can go there to be like a food bank type thing where you feed the vampires. But once you're there, you are there. And she wakes up at this party, and everyone at the party has been murdered, and she's the only one left alive. And she finds a vampire locked away at this party. Hannah ends up going on this huge adventure with this vampire to get him back into one of the cities, and it's just super incredible and super good. I really love this book. I love all of Holly's books, but this one is very dark and creepy and very fall-esque. The next books I'm going to talk to you about, there's two of them, but I'm really recommending one, although I do recommend both, but it's because it's My Plain Jane, and this is a Jane Eyre retelling, and I really recommend that you read Jane Eyre before you read this, because you'll just get more out of the story that way. I'm not a big classics person, but I would say that Jane Eyre is like one of my favorites, even though it's like not a favorite book of all time. So I still recommend reading Jane Eyre before you read My Plain Jane. I really recommend My Plain Jane, and it is by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. And this is a second in a series, but it is a standalone. You could read either book without reading the other. The first book is My Lady Jane, and I really recommend that book as well. However, this one's just more fall. And I really recommend the audiobooks for those. They're super entertaining. My Plain Jane is about Jane Eyre and her friend Charlotte, and they're basically like beacons for ghosts, and they're ghost hunters, and Mr. Rochester is in the story as well, and it's just super entertaining, and I really like that they're like ghost hunters, and that's why I really think that it's a very atmospheric read for the fall, and I highly recommend you guys pick this one up, and definitely check out the audiobooks because they're really good. The next book I have to talk about is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, and if you're watching BookTube, then you probably hear a lot of people recommend this one for fall, and it's with good reason because it's super dark and atmospheric. Like, I really loved this book. This book is about the Swan sisters, and they were deemed witches long ago, and so every year they seek revenge on the island that murdered them. Every year they come back as ghosts, and they inhabit someone's body, and they start murdering the men or boys in the town, and they start drowning them. And this year things are a little different, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna say, because you need to read this and find out why. But it is so amazing, and it's just like, if you're a fan of practical magic, I really think that you will love this book. Next is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, and this book is about Cassie, and Cassie drowned and survived it, and now she can cross the in-between, and she can speak to ghosts, and her best friend is actually a ghost, and her parents are ghost story writers, and they end up in Edinburgh, and they're there to look at haunted places. Since Cassidy can see ghosts, she starts to see like crazy stuff that is haunting this city, and it's really good. It's very atmospheric. I read it in like a few hours. It's a really entertaining story, and I haven't read much Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab, but so far out of the 3 books that I have read, well, like 2.5, because I'm reading one of her books right now, this has been my favorite. It's really entertaining, and I highly recommend this. Like I said, there's ghosts, so you totally need to read this in the fall. Next up, I have Seanan McGuire's Every Heart a Doorway series, and I have Down Among the Sticks and Bones here too, because it's really creepy and dark as well. But I liked Every Heart a Doorway more. But these are just short novellas, so you could read both really, really fast. These books are about kids who go to other places like Wonderland and Narnia, and they end up coming back to the real world and they really hate it. So they end up at this home for children who have all been through a similar fate, and it's really entertaining. In this book, one of the students or children, they end up being murdered, and it's just insane. Like, I don't know how she made such a fully formed story in so many short pages, but it's amazing, and I really, really think that you guys will love this series for the fall if you have not read them yet. Next up, I have The Sisters of the Winterwood, and I would actually recommend this book for fall or winter, kind of maybe in between, like November. This book is so amazing, and it actually really means a lot to me. The story means a lot to me, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but the more I think about it and the more I recommend it, I feel like this is a 5-star read for me. This book is about sisters and sisterhood, and there is a mysterious man who shows up, and the sister is kind of like tricked by him, and she's very enthralled with him, and he ends up feeding her fairy fruit, and everything just goes really downhill from there, as you can imagine, because they're tricksters. The other sister is trying to save her and like wake her up and tell her like he's using you and abusing you, and you know, you're this beautiful swan and I need you to wake up and recognize what is happening. And it's just so good. And I've said before, if you're a fan of Wintersong, I really think you'll love this book, but it's very atmospheric and it just grips you and pulls you in, and it's a dark fairy tale, and I really, really think that you guys will enjoy this. Next up, I have House of Furies by Madeline Rue, and I really need to read the second book in this because I read this book in one sitting. It was so good. This book is about Louisa, and she ends up going to this house that is ran by Mr. Morningside. And while she's there, she realizes that the guests in this house are there for their judgment, and like once you're there, like you're there. The only way you're leaving is through death. And this story is very gothic, very dark, very entertaining. I was so enthralled with her writing, and I really think that this story is creepy but awesome, and there's like creepy drawings inside, so it's atmospheric the whole way through, and I highly recommend picking this one up. The next book I have to talk about is Wink Poppy Midnight. This is by April Genevieve Tolch. I don't know how to say her name, but she's a badass writer, and this book is super short but super gripping. It is about basically every story needs a hero and a villain, and in this story something bad happens and someone is telling the truth and someone is lying. In characters, and it's a boy and 2 girls, and I really, really like this story. It's really short, and but it's dark and entertaining. If you like books with dark secrets and mysterious things that happen, then I think you will enjoy this one. The final book I have to talk about is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and if you don't know this, this is one of my favorite books of all time, like ever. I got to meet Grady Hendrix this year at BookCon, and it was so amazing to get to tell him that this story means a lot to me. This book is about 2 girls, and one of them becomes possessed and the other one tries to save her, and nobody will realize that like something is wrong with her friend. Like she stops showering and like taking care of herself, and it's just really nasty things start to happen. Like I'm just like thinking about it and I'm like, but it's so amazing. The friendship in this is stellar. Like I was in tears, I was creeped out. I listened to the Queen of the Dam soundtrack and Smashing Pumpkins in the background while reading this, and it made for a perfect entertainment experience, if that makes sense. Entertaining experience? There we go. It's just so incredible, and this cover, it does the book so much justice. Like if you read any of my recommendations from this video, read this one please, and then come back to me so we can gush about it together, because this book is fantastic. there you guys have it. That is my fall recommendations. Let me know in the comments down below some books you guys love to read in the fall. I am always looking for more atmospheric, scary, spooky type reads, so definitely let me know those in the comments down below. If you read any of these books, let me know so that we can talk about them together. And as always, if you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!